Now we have an idea of how to decimals and percents and fractions are related to each other. We could take a look at this table of values here. And one way we think about when we have to take percents of something, sometimes is to think about them equivalently as fractions. That 5% is 1 out of 20. And again, where would that, just to remind you of where that would come from, it's sometimes easier, right? 5% is equal to 5 out of 100, and if that simplifies, that's 1 out of 20. So you can see, so sometimes it's easier to do that. So for example, if I wanted to do 5% of 100, my answer is going to be, basically, to solve that, I can do 500 divided by 20, and so that's 5. In terms of looking at something like that, you can say 5% of 20, you're going to do 20 over 20, because I'm going to take 1/20th of it. So basically you're turning this into 1 over 20. So my answer is 1. 5% of 20 is 1. And you can do that with all of these things. So for example, if I wanted to do 25% of, let's go, of 16, to solve that, you can just basically say I want 1/4 of 16, which equals 4. And so then you have that there. So that's a way to look at it. We can look at some of these percents as decimals. You do them so often that you just recognize these. And so for example, one more, 75% of 20. Let's do that one. That would basically be 3/4 of 20. And so in my mind, what I do is I do 20 divided by 4, get that answer, and then times 3. And so in this case, that is 15. 75% of 20 is 15. Notice I'm taking 3/4 instead of doing the decimal. I'm using the fraction of it. 3/4, so I can divide by 4 first, get 5. 5 times 3 is 15. So that's another way to do it, simply using mental math. And so in these examples here, that's what we have. I'm not going to do them all. Let's just look at some of those. And you can look at these in the book. These are in the book. So in this case here, I turn that to 1/4 of 44. Divided by 4, you get 11. On this case here, 3/4 of 24 would be equal to, when I see that, I'm going to do 24 divided by 4. We get 6, and then do that 3 times, so that's 18. Let's look at it now. 50% is half, easy enough. 33%, that would be 1/3 of 93. And so that answer is going to be 31, because you're just going to do 93 divided by 3, was your 31. This one's interesting here in that you want to do 38% of 50. There's an equivalent kind of thing you can do here, is 38% of 50. Since you have this 50, we'll take a look at what we're thinking about. I know 50% of 50 is 25. So another way to look at that problem, and whether I'm look at that problem, is this is like 38 over 100 times 50. And so in this case, what I'm really going to do is 38 times 50 over 100. This equals a half. So really my answer is 19. I'm going to take half of 38. It's this little trick move. But again, this is just some mental arithmetic. I guess I did them all. This one here, we would do the same thing. This is 84 over 100 times 25. And so then I rearrange it times 84. So this is 1/4 of 84. So that's 21. That's what we got. Those are some mental ways to solve those problems using fractions as the decimals.